Evening. So the one thing that my youngest daughter asked for this Christmas was marshmallows. And there's a lot of videos online of how to make marshmallows. And they're super easy, surprisingly. You've got everything from America's Test Kitchen to somebody like me just doing this kind of thing. I've picked a little bit of information from each of them. Then I took, and I will shamelessly say this, Alton Brown's actual recipe, and that makes for us the best marshmallows. And I'm just doing basic white marshmallows, no extra frills, excuse me. But one of the things I have adapted just recently, because my honey picked it up, is non-stick aluminum foil. Do you need it? Not necessarily. Okay, so what I found out was the shiny side is not the non-stick side. It's this side, the dull side, that is non-stick. America's Test Kitchen suggests you make something called a sling. And so I have formed a tin foil on this side, so it goes all the way across. And then we're going to put this one in. You'll thank me later. Do this. Around, put it underneath, and then I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to also spray this.
Really?
Because marshmallows are made of sugar. Sugar is sticky on everything. I trust nothing. So, we always have
Our Lady Pam.
That's right. Actually, we use the Kirkland brand because, you know, Costco.
We happen to have some, yeah.
It works. And I get right into the corner, a little extra into the corners, and then right up the sides. And then, that's done. We don't have to worry about that until we're ready to actually put the marshmallows in the pan. So that part is now done. Sorry, I just tried to make a mess. There we go. Next thing you're going to do is bloom your gelatin. And for this recipe, it calls for 3 packs of unflavored gelatin. I have a stand mixer. This was my Christmas gift a couple of years ago, which I need to adjust. So for those bakers out there that are going to hear it tick on the side of the bowl, I have to adjust it, not tonight. Anyway, 3 packets of the unflavored gelatin into the stand mixer. And half of the water that is required, this one, I get it all? I didn't get it all. There we go. Which in this case is half a cup. I'm just going to pour it in, stir it up, and let it bloom. I'll get a spoon. If people are wondering what blooming means, other than flowers opening up, it actually means the gelatin is going to do what gelatin does, and it's going to be a hard mass, and it's going to start working. Okay, so we can let this sit. Now we can prepare the sugar. This is 12 ounces of white sugar. Note, I'm being very careful about pouring that in the center of the pot. There's a reason, and we'll get to it in a few minutes. Half a teaspoon? Half a teaspoon? Half.
A quarter.
Quarter, thank you. Quarter teaspoon of salt. The rest of the water, which happens to be another half cup of water. And corn syrup. You can't, as much as people would like to get away from using corn syrup, I don't like this. In this situation, for this recipe, there's no getting away from it. It needs to happen. You can also use, I'm just going to say corn syrup. Light corn syrup, and I need 1 full cup. So this is a really neat measuring cup from Pampered Chef that's damp on the outside, so it's causing a little difficulty. There we go. You open it up to your desired amount, which is 1 cup, open up your product, glue it in, and that's pretty smooth. I was expecting to make a mess there for a second. And then it can go right into the mixture. And here's what I like about this. It acts like a plunger and now cleans out.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to... Here, honey, take this for a quick sec, please. Just hold it over the pot.
Okay.
Thank you. Because...
I apologize for any goodness knows what I was looking at with the camera while I was grabbing that.
There we go.
This kind of reminds me of doing an oil change. You got the oils still coming out, you know.
The key, by the way, to working with sugar for cleaning, keeping your kitchen clean, is hot water as soon as possible. Get it in there. Okay, so medium-high heat. And you'll note I'm not stirring it. And I'm not stirring it for a reason. One of the things that can happen is if the granulated sugar climbs up the side of your pot, you can get sugar crystals, which will give a grainy texture to your marshmallows.
Oh, neat.
What everybody says that makes them, there's two methods. You can take a brush and you can put water in it and you can brush them down the side. I'm a big fan of just not getting it up there in the first place. And leave it alone, let it melt, give it a swirl a little bit here and there, but don't stir it until all of the sugar is actually melted.
Besides, it's Christmas time and not a creature with stirring, right?
Except for like a
A dog.
miniature dingo.
A miniature dingo. He stirs quite a bit, yeah.
Alright, so the other thing you will need from this process, by the way, I'm going to bring it over, is a candy thermometer. And there's no way around not buying a candy thermometer. Sugar has different states, and when it gets to 250 degrees, it's at something called soft ball stage, where you can work with it a little easier. Then it goes into hard ball stage, and there's other things to do with it at that point, or that you can and can't do. We don't want this to get past 240 degrees Fahrenheit. So once the sugar is melted, we will then keep an eye on the temperature, and when it gets to 240 degrees, we'll take it off. So I'm going to let this sugar do its thing, and if you can't see it, that might actually be a little bit easier to see what the sugar looks like. Then when we come back will be when the sugar is melted, and we'll be starting to watch the temperature. Okay, we are now at 240 degrees Fahrenheit, or I believe that works out to 115 centigrade-ish. We're going to take this out, and we're going to take the sugar off the heat. I'm going to put this somewhere where I can wash it easily. There we go. And here's where you have to be very careful. Well, you have to be very careful with hot sugar anyway. It is still 240 degrees. So we're going to come through over to the stand mixer, where we have, and if you want to show in there how the gelatin has bloomed. And if you poke it, it's a hard mass.
Okay.
Yeah. So we drop this down, lock it. We're going to mix it up a little bit. Here's where it takes a little bit of a steady hand. You want to slowly pour the sugar mixture into here, but remembering that you want it down the side of the bowl, not directly on the gelatin. That starts the cooling process. And you want your mixer on a fairly low speed. Right now we're just integrating the gelatin and the sugar. Okay? Slow, steady stream. Get it all in. We'll slowly turn that up in a few moments. St. Goodman. Okay. Once you've got it integrated, okay, then we're going to turn up this for a few moments. Eventually, it's going to be up on top high. Once you get it up to its highest, which for me is 10, you're going to be like that for 10 minutes. Some say 15, but you're looking for glossy, you're looking for formed, you're looking for not runny. So this is going to be a firm marshmallow. Okay, so here we go. Leave it there for a moment.
Ramming speed.
Almost. I don't think you've heard this thing at top high before.
I don't think so. Can you imagine how long it would take to do that by hand?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you want to be careful. Yeah, there we go. Because I actually did get a little bit of flesh. I'm not burnt. And you're going to let this go for 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll be back.
At the halfway mark.
About halfway, yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than halfway.
We have about 3 minutes left. Here, I'll show you what it looks like and why we're not done yet. It looks like we should be done, but we're not. Two things. This bowl is still really hot. And when you move this, see, it's got the glisten, but there's too much, it's too liquidy. Yeah, that's the words.
Liquidy.
Which seems strange for what we're looking at, but yeah. So we'll lock her back up again. Get her back up to speed. And we're about 3 minutes out at this point. Then we'll add the vanilla, mix that in, and get it into the pan. Vanilla extract. Always follow a recipe, especially when you're baking, or baking is really closer to a science. So the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. 1 teaspoon. Woo! So what happens when you add a little more liquid in there? Woo! We'll let that mix in, and then we're going to put this out into the tray and let it form up. All right, it is time. Look at that. It's all glistening. Now, one of the things I didn't show you I sprayed this with non-stick so that I can get all of this.
Count spatula. Ha, ha, ha.
All of this gooey goodness. And you got to move pretty quick here, because as this cools, it's forming, and it's going to make a big mess if you don't get it to where you need it in time. So my wonderful assistant gets this.
Yeah, that's a difficult job there.
And we're going to scrape down the side. Get this into a pan, which we sprayed and did all those wonderful things to, so that it will not stay permanently. That's a real issue sometimes.
Yeah.
If you do it wrong.
Find that tin foil's hard in the teeth when you try to eat the marshmallows.
There you go. And you can see by how sticky it's already getting that it's starting to form up. So that's why you want to move along. All right. Last time I made marshmallows the other day, which was on my Instagram, I decided to do thin ones. They're nice, but I really prefer these. I'm attempting to be artistic. Go with me here. There we go. Hey.
I can't miss that.
All right.
There we go.
So that now needs to sit room temperature for, they're going to say 8 hours. I'm telling you, leave it for 24 hours if you can, because you really want it to set up. The other thing I have going on over here, move this out of the way. In this bowl, I have 50% cornstarch to 50% icing sugar. And what we're going to do is we're going to dust the top of it, and when you take it out, you're going to dust the bottom of it, and when you cut it up, you're going to throw them into this mixture and dust all the way around them, because they're still going to be sticky. Okay, so let's dust the top so you can see what I'm talking about. I don't have a, this is a sifter, very old school sifter that a friend of mine gave me. There we go. You know how to use the thing. There we go. I'm using extra because I really want to make sure this is good and coated. There we go. So now we have a nice healthy amount of sugar snow on top, and this will sit and cure for a good 24 hours, and then Katrina, my darling, will have more marshmallows for Christmas.